After your profitable cleanup, you can open the hatch. Welcome to town. It's a fucking...
Profitable, and I'm pretty sure it said 23 people died, and now 17? Profitable. Only 40 people died. Alright, today we're reacting to Seth diving into Highfleet, a game that already looks like it was engineered in a bunker by someone allergic to accessibility settings. And because it's Seth, of course this review comes in the Seizure edition, which is both a warning and a threat. I have no idea what level of missile ballet, fuel micromanagement, or screen shaking nonsense we're about to watch, but I'm fully expecting at least 3 war crimes, 2 spreadsheets, and 1 explosion that makes my monitor reconsider life. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe to the universe, because if my eyes survive this, I deserve it.
Hey people, epilepsy warning. I'm
Hi,
serious.
Seth.
You have about 3 seconds.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Now that all the epileptics are either dead or convulsing, let's have a pleasant time. Highfleet is self-described as a fleet.
Thanks, Seth. I love that he's, oh goodness gracious, I forgot to turn that off again. Oh my goodness. I love that he's looking out for us, you know. 3 seconds for the epileptics to run away. So any epileptics that survived, leave a comment, okay? Make sure you're all right. Step away if you need to, please. And please don't get concerned. I'm an epileptic, but I'm not photosensitive, so I'll be okay. For the most part. Now let me turn the closed captions off.
Carrier.
Apologies.
Let's have a pleasant time. Highfleet is self-described as a fleet carrier sim, programmed entirely inside an ice fishing shack by a single Russian man.
Я верю в Иисуса Христа.
Personally, I describe it as an immersive trauma sim because the hardest part isn't the combat, it's staying calm when all your senses are drowned out by the scream of gunfire. The game takes place on the fictional desert planet of Kazakhstan. After a messy political revolution, rebel forces have taken over. You play as Grand Duke Mark Sayati Solemsky, who is tasked by the Russian Emperor himself, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, to restore order. Unfortunately, our forces to the south got glassed by thermonuclear warheads, so you could say it's not going too well. Our last-ditch effort is to push north towards the rebel-controlled city of Kiva. Our objective, a plutonium reactor the size of a city, responsible for the vast majority of power generation across the planet. The hope is, once we capture it, the enemy will have to surrender, or at least negotiate a truce.
This isn't the first time I've seen a plot like this, where one area controls an insane amount of power for no reason whatsoever other than the fact that it's just the main power supply, and because there is now a war, they're fighting over that. Also, why does it say Sevastopol? That's alien. I have all the questions. Is that... Did Seth put that there? Where's that in the game?
The hope is, once we capture it, the enemy will have to surrender, or at least negotiate a truce. However, you're vastly outnumbered, outgunned, and flat out broke. But first, let's get to the controls. Your word of the day, skeuomorphism. Every part of the UI looks like the real-world equivalent of what it's meant to represent. On the map, you're looking top-down from the cockpit, which is crammed with whatever communications devices you've got installed. This may look overwhelming, but compared to an actual Soviet cockpit, it's comparatively simple. Generally, if you make visual contact, it's already too late. The enemy has already spotted our chemtrail, so there's no point acting innocent, which is why we use all of this shit. At the top left, you've got your radar, reliable, accurate, and high resolution. The good radar, also known as the overpriced radar, has a range of 7.
At first it was pencils and erasers and such, and I was like, oh yeah, that's normal, that's fine. It's not pencils and erasers anymore. That was such a clean transition of things.
The good radar, also known as the overpriced radar, has
I might be dumb. It never transitioned at all. I am so sorry.
a range of 700 kilometers. Check this out. Not only does it locate, but if I make contact, mark it on the map, and maintain course for exactly an hour, I can mark the new position, take a ruler between the 2 points, and find out the velocity and bearing of a signal. But you have to send radio signal to receive it, which means if you see them, they can definitely see you.
They absolutely
sometimes
saw
the
you.
best option is to turn it off and start panicking.
Signature detected.
Unfortunately, this sound means our infrared search and track system is working correctly. What does this mean? It means there's a ballistic missile coming towards us, and since infrared is low range at 300 kilometers, it also means brace
it's going
yourself.
to hit you.
In contrast, electronic intelligence, or ELINT, works off passive radar emission, so it's undetectable, long range, and looks like a fucking pretend phone for kids. It's very intuitive. I look at it, see the flashing red light which says, alert, danger close, and I look away, trying to guess whatever the hell that means. Then there is the radar jammer. You can click it for stress relief, because it doesn't do anything. Imagine getting shot dead in the street, an experience that many Americans can relate to. But as the bullet approaches, you can briefly become invisible. This amazing ability allows you to sneak away from the approaching bullet. However, the only problem is that bullets are typically much faster. Finally, you've got the radio, which intercepts radio transmission in real time. You'll have to dial in the correct frequency, tune the signal, and get a bearing on its direction. You only get a short window of time to do this before you lose the transmission. Even if
you know, it takes a very smart person to make a game like this. And it was just that one guy? This looks sick. Oh my god, that is insanely detailed. I love it. Don't convince me to buy this, Seth, I swear. If I end up a penny short, a penny poorer after this video, I'm going to cry.
Bearing on its direction. You only get a short window of time to do this before you lose the transmission. Even if you get it, surprise, it's usually encrypted. Even if you decrypt it, surprise, it's literally a trucker asking for gas. Every single time. The tactical knowledge of where every trucker stops to urinate is vital to the success of your campaign. There's also some other keys to the top right. Those are buttons to commit war crimes. And if you flick the switch, you can control the number of atrocities you'd like to commit. Finally, I can actually talk about the game. In this game, modern warfare has done away with tanks and aviation. Instead, we fly gigantic 30,000-ton blocks of steel, which guzzle 2,000 cubic tons of pressurized methane every 1,000 kilometers, with a carbon emission rating between who cares and it's probably gonna get warmer. Every ship is unique and complementary to the rest of your fleet, which you pick at the start of a campaign. Every ship piece is modular, which can be swapped out and modified as you see fit. There's no safety or hand-holding, so by all means, detach the bridge from your flagship, tumble to your death, and lose the game. But if you can resist the urge of destroying or selling your flagship, we should get moving, because it's only a matter of time before some Soviet babushka alerts the authorities. So start your engines and pick a destination. Whatever your choice, expect heavy resistance. To make matters more complicated, you can't just send your flagship, because it's a fat, heavy piece of shit that tops out at 90 kilometers an hour. Why is this an issue? Because the enemy will spot us, raise the alarm, and send every strike fleet to our location. Pro tip, if you start hearing this music, you're already dead, which is why I usually just dismantle my flagship into a 2x2 cardboard box and fly it into...
I've learned that a cardboard box, or box in any form or shape, seems to be the strongest shape currently. You've got Mart putting the little robot from the depths in a box. Now we've got your flagship box. It's effective. It gets the job done. I don't see anything wrong with this, but it's a revelation.
I usually just dismantle my flagship into a 2x2 cardboard box and fly it into the desert. I can't lose if I can't be found. So instead, we send a strike group ahead of the main fleet to kill everyone before they can scream for help. Combat is very simple. You take your diazepam, stare at the drywall for 10 minutes, and return to the PC. Then watch as you get locked on by 3 different ships. It's a trial by fire, but eventually you'll get the hang of it. Typically, you fill your magazine, unload on the enemy, and try to live long enough to reload. And yes, you always fight 1v3. Get used to it. And yes, depending on the weather and time of day, you're going to see a lot of rain. Conversely, you're not going to see much else. Think of every ship in this game as a crab. Punch through its exoskeleton, and there's nothing but soft, tender flesh. The slightest crack in its armor, the slightest puncture in its crusty, and you'll devour the whole thing. There's a structural diagram of whatever ship you're targeting on the bottom right. You can use this to figure out the weak points of any high-altitude crustacean. Fun fact,
Oh.
pressurized methane is very explosive. Locate their fuel tanks, set them on fire, and the chain reaction will usually
Explodes.
blow the whole ship. Do you need to know anything
Smart.
else? No. Is there long-term health consequences to flying a ship that knocks out the pilot each time I make a turn? Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
But afterwards, there's a lot of burning debris and human bodies that you have to mop up before we can properly land. You're on a limited timer, and you can't save everything, or everyone, because the game will automatically try to save crew members trapped inside the debris. However, those aren't mine. I should know because
they're
I don't
not.
build evac pods on my ships. Think about it. The Titanic would have never crashed if it had no life vessels. If the passengers had no option for retreat, they'd plug the hole with their bloated carcasses and save the day. So
That's too dark, man. That's too dark, Seth. Ooh, I'm trying not to laugh at that because it's funny, but that's also really dark. But really good. I mean, he has a point. He has a point. But it wouldn't have been resolved like that.
no option for retreat, they'd plug the hole with their bloated
can't
carcasses
plug that
and save the
hole.
day. So instead, I
Not
switched
every
to
hole
manual
can
and
be a
write off
goal.
those casualties as fatalities. First, we secure the fuel and munitions, because if they burn, they explode, taking our payday along with it.
No.
Then check your options. Crew quarters contain souvenirs for recruiting potential allies. Captain's quarters contains clues to the location of aforementioned allies. Useful, but not essential. Radio room gives a
We
piece
don't
of a
need
current
allies?
encryption key. Absolutely, totally, and completely worthless. If you know a single keyword, you can decrypt the entire transmission. That leaves us with the only thing that actually matters. Spare parts we can strip down and sell for money. Gun parts,
Yes.
missiles, radars, aircraft.
Sell
Whatever
them.
it is, it's worth a
Take
lot
it.
of cash back in town. If they
You
got
need
that
it.
money symbol, it's time to harvest as quickly as possible. Sometimes there's a hazard warning, which means a 50% chance of horrific accident if you
Don't worry
don't put
about
on
it.
protective gear. But
That's
that takes
fine.
time, and I don't have a lot of time, but I do have a lot of expendable, replaceable human beings. You know what
Yes,
they
we
say?
do.
You can't cook an omelet without breaking health and safety.
Oh.
After your profitable cleanup, you can open the hatch. Welcome to town. It's a
Profitable.
fucking
Profitable, and I'm pretty sure it said 23 people died, and now 17? Profitable. Only 40 people died. Whether they were your own or not, you know, I don't know. But, I mean, profitable. What would you call that profitable? Monetarily, yes. Humanely, no. No one is going to flourish if there is nobody left.
After your profitable cleanup, you can open the hatch. Welcome to town. It's a fucking dump, but sometimes
It's
it
beautiful.
rains. It's the only moment of serene tranquility you'll ever get in this game. Usually, there's a random event which influences the worldview
Nice.
and politics of your crew
What is-
depending on how you respond. For example, your men start taking slaves from the captured enemy captives. What do you do? Option 1, slavery bad. No slavery. Option 2,
Slavery.
slavery good. Receive
Slavery
5,000
money.
credits. Option 3, slavery good, but not efficient. Assign a slavery officer to oversee and optimize slavery. Receive 10,000 credits. Choices.
Yeah, without a shadow of the doubt, the last one. Unless there's more options, the last one. It sounds a lot better. Please don't torch me for saying that.
Officer to oversee and optimize slavery.
Slavery is
Receive
bad in general,
10,000
but
credits. Choices
you know what I
are
mean.
not made equal. Some are straight up better. At some point in the
Yeah.
game, rising nuclear ash
Money's
keeps dropping
good.
the temperature.
It's
Your
a game.
general tells you the men are freezing to death, suggesting that you keep the car engine running and burn a small amount of fuel even if you're currently parked. If you agree, temporary plus free morale bonus to all of your men, and a permanent drain on fuel supply for the rest of the game. If you say no, absolutely nothing happens. It's never brought up again. Worldview is used for
They'll
skill
be
checks
fine.
along the story and for charismatic
cope.
negotiation with Tarkans, former Russian generals who are currently in hiding from rebel forces. Appeal
That's
to their
oddly
sense
detailed.
of morality, give them a nice Funko Pop, and they just might join your campaign so that I can
Nice.
immediately sell their ship for market value. This involves giving a speech, the effect of which is specific to each character's sensibilities. Mainly, I just rant about how much I fucking hate the poor and how much money we're gonna make after we
You know, actually, that would solve a lot of the problems because this entire game is, you know, everybody's at war with one another and 9 times out of 10, war revolves around money and some form of control, which is still related to money. So, just saying, not saying all wars revolve around money, obviously. Just saying, if you were to just like tell everybody, hey, you know, you should join me because we're all about that moolah, I think, you know, you would have world peace very soon. That might be a bit of a stretch, but there would be, you know, a balance. Surely people would work at, no, I have little faith, actually. In an ideal world, it would work out.
I just rant about how much I fucking hate the poor and how much money we're gonna make after after we shove a gun barrel of democracy down the collective throats of a current government. My impassioned speech is often very convincing. Tarkans are valuable assets, which can be called up during the campaign to ask for a small loan of 10,000 repeatedly until they no longer pick up. A city is effectively a gas station. We drop into the Gazprom depot to get scammed by shitty gas prices by some dude wearing a sack. Every gas station also comes equipped with a shipworks for ship installation and repair. You can do this undocked at low speed, but for serious repairs, you're gonna have to manually land the ship. Welcome to parking, the quickest and most frequent cause of a game over. Much like jumping down a flight of stairs without legs, do not attempt to do this without landing gear. And remember to park your flagship responsibly. Sometimes it'll count balancing off a cliff as a completely valid parking spot. You'll return to the town screen only to see your flagship tumble and crash into the abyss. Also, for some reason, after parking your ship, you can still control it.
Why can't you just like hover? Can the ships not hover? You have to land? There's no hovering? Why not? And if there is, why is he not using that? Well, I mean, if he's going to park to get more gas, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But you know what I mean? Like, if he's just visiting a place, are you required to land? I'm assuming yes. But I have all the questions.
Into the abyss. Also, for some reason, after parking your ship, you can still control it. You might think it's a bug, but it's never been fixed, so I suspect it's working as intended. Moving on, every gas station has an in-store self-checkout to legally purchase special munitions to be used against the same government that sold it to me. Compatibility depends on weapon caliber. For reference, the smallest caliber in this game is a 37mm machine gun. This goes up to 180mm, which is the size of your average artillery. And there's no option for weapon groups, so typically we fire every single gun at the same time.
All of them. Oh my god.
As far as I care, there's only 2 types of ammo: armor piercing and proximity fuse. The former for cutting up ships, and the latter for chopping up aircraft. The rest is a complete meme. Incendiary starts fires, which implies that 2,000 cubic tons of burning methane just wasn't enough. And laser guided lets you do this. Honestly, I really do like it, but when I remember that I'm effectively shooting money, my brow begins to sweat and I start to feel nauseous. Besides that, there's a bunch of bombs, missiles, and rockets you can use to airstrike the enemy before they can even start their engines. With that,
I feel like the incendiary and the armor piercing would get the job done pretty quickly. As cool as the laser one is, if we're talking money, I don't know the prices of each, but I'm assuming the incendiary and the armor piercing are, you know, kind of in the middle. I would just stick with those. They get the job done. You pierce armor and you explode the ship. It's perfect. 2 in 1.
And rockets you can use to airstrike the enemy before they can even start their engines. With that out of the way, you should remember that any military campaign is largely financial, and that the most beautiful phrase in the Russian language is "Дай мне твои деньги, пожалуйста." We are going to intercept trade convoys, murder their escort, and capture the trade ships so we can hold them for ransom, because we're the good guys. God is with us on this campaign, and thus piracy is absolutely ethical, encouraged, and the best way of making money, hands down, besides selling ballistic nuclear weapons on the open market. Speaking of ballistic nuclear weapons, why haven't we used them yet? Because, as your general puts it, once the genie's out of a bottle, it's never going back inside. But I'm okay with that.
That's why we use it.
I only have one wish to make. I wish for a nuclear winter.
Good night. Ooh, that's a cool effect.
The death of one is a tragedy, but the death of millions is a good start. However, in retrospect, this wasn't the best idea. You see, we didn't use them because we couldn't. We didn't use them because they have more than us. Considerably more. And right now, they're heading towards us. So, word of advice, they won't touch the button as long as you don't. You can start the nuclear war, but...
So they're all like sitting at a table like, who's gonna press the button first? Who's gonna do it? And he's like sweating. He's like, oh, I don't know. Do I have to? Why don't we wait for the other guys to do it? Because then we can do it back. And it's just back and forth. That'd be so funny, but I can see that happening. They're just sitting there waiting to see who does it first so they can do it back in tenfold.
Advice, they won't touch the button as long as you don't. You can start the nuclear war, but they're going to finish it.
Yeah, but it's fun. Why can't we have more than them?
Finally, if you actually want to win the game, pre-built ships aren't good enough. You have to make your own. You do this by clicking Shipworks in the main menu. Unfortunately, the latest patch has removed the background sound effects because somebody kept complaining. Luckily, I still have my old copy, so I can still tune in to the soothing ASMR of a Middle Eastern repair shop. Here's some of the projects I made after stealing and taking credit for them from a friend. The block, the brick, the cock and ball accelerator, which generates torque directly from the phallus, the box, the Death Star of David, work in progress, the windmill of friendship, footage missing, the fly swatter, also known as the make shit crash, because enemies will desperately try to avoid mid-air collision, which instead makes them crash into the ground, the when you run out of ammo, you become the ammo, the why did I make this, and many more. Eventually, I realized that armor plates are functionally no different to reinforced hull pieces, except they weigh 3 times as much. So I made this abomination. It can take out every strike fleet in the game back to back with no brakes. I can literally sit in the first town, wait until grandma calls the Gestapo, and watch as the entire rebel military explode in front of me. I love this game. Which brings me to my main critique. There's not enough, and I want more. It's like a slice of cake that I want, but I can't have, because I can't legally imprison the developer until he bakes the aforementioned cake. Unless I somehow invite him over on false pretenses, burn his passport, and cuff him to the work table.
Oh my
Hypothetically,
God.
of course.
Run away. Just run away. Please, for your own good. Run away. Take this as a sign, actually. Just add more to the game for Seth before he does whatever that is. Run.
Pretenses, burn his passport, and cuff him to the work table. Hypothetically, of course.
Yeah,
Also, if you're worried about epilepsy, just know that modern copies of the game have been sanitized for your delicate eyes. You can set your preference in the options menu. Thanks to all the seizure complaints, Glitch High is now just a bunch of fuzzy lines. But on release, Glitch...
That's so bad that they had seizure complaints. Does that mean people actually genuinely had seizures from this game? Oh no, that's terrible. I'm so sorry, but also you should have known what you're walking into, genuinely. You have to do your research before purchasing a game. You have to. You have to watch trailers and like at least 1 minute of gameplay. At least one. So that you have an idea of what's going on in the game. That is my advice to literally anybody, epileptic or not. Okay? Please. Do your research. Know what you're signing up for.
Seizure complaints. Glitch High is now just a bunch of fuzzy lines. But on release, Glitch High was the equivalent of burning out your cornea with a radioactive lens flare.
Beautiful.
It was actually even funnier because the options used to be flipped. So you'd set it to Glitch Low, which would actually be Glitch High. And very soon, both your retinas would cease to function and die. If you're interested, you can grab a copy on Steam. Or you can physically steal it by cutting the fiberglass cables outside your house and intercepting the individual packets of light. As always, more content to come. Hopefully, more often. So stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
You too. That's messed up. It's beautiful. But messed up. That's messed up, man. Why is it kind of smack? Or slap? know what I'm listening to. I probably shouldn't be vibing. Oh no. Ooh. Pretty. Oh. Dang it, I might get it. Oh. Shiny. That's so cool! I love the detail. Oh, that's me. My bad. Oh. Ooh. Oh. He shot the escape pod! That's mean! Poor guys. Oh my god, that's a CBT! Oof. Landing is difficult, huh? Oh, oh. Hey! Oh, never mind. I don't know if I'm allowed to play this on YouTube. Those are such big guns! Oh my god! I'm glad he had fun! Oh my god! That is death! I do not care what anybody says. That is literally a flying tank. That is not a warship anymore. That is a tank. Oh my god. Holy fluff. Based. I love how detailed this game is. Oh. Oh. It sounded like my ass is heaven. Huh? Thank you for tuning in to another Neko Reacts. What is one of the weirdest contraptions you've made in the game that somehow found a way to work? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, please leave a like and subscribe to the universe, and I'll see you in the next one. Matanya!